Do you want to become a CCNA, CCIE, JNCIE engineer, but you feel stuck? Today, I'm going to talk about action, so pay close attention. So, in order to arrive to take massive action, we need to understand, first of all, how the process works. Because otherwise, we are engineers. If we don't understand the process, we get stuck and we stay there and we wait for motivation, never come, and we give up. That's plain and simple. But if we understand the process, we just need to improve the process, and we arrive at the point where we can take massive action. So let's understand the process. The first thing we need to understand is that there is a thinking 20%, and there is action 80%. Thinking 20%, action 80%. Pareto's rule everywhere, everywhere. And I'm going to show you that even inside the thinking and even inside the action, there is a 20-80 rule. But first of all, why thinking 20 and action 80? We need to understand the proportion. The reason is you need to understand that you can't take only action, because otherwise you are going to feel exhausted. Because if you take only action, random action, it's better than nothing, it's better than doing nothing, but you are moving without a clear direction. So you are going to move in hundreds of directions, you don't see really progress, and you feel exhausted at the end of the day. And the mind, the thinking mind, will never accept this over the long term, because you can't force yourself to do things if you don't see results. You need to see results. On the other way, thinking 20%, because it's very important to have a plan. So you need to arrive to create the plan. So you may think that the plan is here in the 20%, but now I will explain you that things are not so easy, are a little bit more complicated, but not so complicated. We just go into the details a bit, and you understand the process, and then you can take action. So, you need to understand the thinking 20% is composed by two parts. So the first part is thoughts. 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 And thoughts are 80%, whilst the contemplation is 20%. What's the difference between the two things? Thoughts are things that we can't really control 100%. So if you are interested to learn more about this, schedule a Zoom session with me, one-to-one mindset. I will explain you the details. We need to go through a program, one-to-one. If you are interested in these things, because it takes time and we need to build a program, is another story. But for the sake of this presentation, you need to understand that the thoughts, it's quite a mess that happens in our mind, and you can't fully control this process. You can mitigate this process, you can direct this process, you can improve, optimize this process, but you can't fully control this process. So this is something that happens every second, every minute, so many thoughts coming in our mind, even when we are sleeping, of course, and we just need to be aware about this. There are people that, no, I can't think when I want. No, it doesn't work like that. These people don't know what they're talking about, so they never learn anything about the mind, and generally they don't get any result because they don't understand anything. But when you understand that you can't control completely this, you need to focus on optimizing the process of thinking, because otherwise you get exhausted, you feel so tired at the end of the day, so nervous, and you say, why this happened to me? Because you don't understand this. So if you want to know more about this, one-to-one session with me, I can't go too much into the details because it takes too long. But the second part is much more clear to understand. Contemplation, 20%. What's contemplation? Just in a nutshell, contemplation is you take out one of these thoughts, especially one that is helpful for you, for yourself, for your career, for improving your situation, for your family, something useful, not some bad thought that you don't want to have. You isolate this thought and you focus on this thought. So, say contemplation, focus on one thought, specific, one thought. So you focus on one thought specifically. For example, for our example, CCIE, say focus on CCIE. Now, this is your goal. This becomes your goal. So here, your job is done, because you had so many thoughts. You said, okay, what I want to do, I want to have more time for myself. I want to work from home. I want to stay more with my family, with my kids. I don't want to go to the office every day. I don't want to commute because I lose a lot of time. I want to earn more money. I want to learn new things. I want to invest on myself. I want to improve my knowledge, my know-how. All these things are thoughts, and are good thoughts, by the way. If you have all these thoughts, at the end of the day, you need to say, okay, so what's the solution? I want to become a CCIE engineer. So you fix the goal in your mind, and this part is done, as you can see. And you may say, oh, Christian, but you are forgetting the plan. No, I'm not forgetting the plan. But you need to understand when you arrive at this level of understanding, the plan is not on this side. You can't isolate the plan. You need to create the plan. To create the plan, you need action. So we go in the 80% of action. So the 80% of action is composed by two parts: motion, 20%, and action, 80%. As you can see, in the middle of this journey, there is 20%, 20%. At the extreme, there is 80%, 80%. So it's 80-20, 20-80. So this means that you need to focus on the extreme to get the massive, massive results, while people focus on the middle. So on the contemplation and on the motion. So let me explain you a little bit more into the details. What's the motion? What's the difference between motion and action? Is the same thing? No. Motion is something that starts moving. I think about like an old machine that stay there for years. Everyone want to move it, but no one want to take action. So it stay there for a very long time and is old, and you need to move it. So you see that when you start moving it, finally, every meter will become easier because it starts moving. So what's motion in reality? Motion is reading, learning in general, writing, say learning, and also planning. If you think all these things are related, because planning at the end is basically the sum of all these things: learning, writing, reading. At the end, you do the plan. You do the plan, and when you do the plan, you are already into motion, because you are actively creating something. You are creating your list of activities. You are creating a vision where you can see what you have to do, the actions you have to do to get your results. Now, the point is that now that you do all these things, you need to take action. Action, massive action, massive action, and this is the 80% of the action side, massive action. So you can see, thoughts, 80%, action, 80%, motion, 20%, and contemplation, 20%. Remember, people stay in the middle. People stay in the middle, and in the middle, when you do the switch between contemplation and motion, motion, contemplation, what happens is that you are daydreaming, basically. This is what you are doing. If you don't take action, you are daydreaming. So if you don't take action, nothing happens. And at the same time, if you have only thoughts, what happens is that you don't get any result, because you just have thoughts continuously. You react to the life. You don't take control about your life. So think about it. You have these thoughts, as we said before. You say, okay, I want to become a CCIE engineer because of those reasons. I want to work from home. I want to stay with my kids. I want to earn more money. I want to learn more things. I want to increase my knowledge, my know-how. Therefore, I want to become a CCIE engineer. So I build a plan, and now I have just to take action. The problem is that you have two ways to do that. You do that alone, and this is something that I was thinking when I was young. I was always late. I was a person who wanted to do everything on his own. And I lost a lot of time. Then I realized that that's silly. It doesn't make any sense. And now I can see immediately the difference when I talk to people between people who get results fast and people who just lose a lot of time. The difference is that people who get results make decisions fast. And they are not scared to work with other people. They already arrived where they want to arrive. This is something very basic to say, but it's so complicated to understand when you are inside this journey. And you can see it. If you look at this industry, you see that 99% of people try those trainings, even though they know that even if they try, they are going to fail. Why? Because they want to fail. Think about it. When you have to take action, it's not so easy. When you have to take action, you feel emotions. For example, you feel tired after a day of work. So when they say to me, oh, I'm tired, I say, okay, well, how about doing this in the morning? But in the morning I want to sleep. Well, remember, you need to remember your initial thoughts. You say, I want to have a different life. I want to have more time to stay with my kids. I want to work remotely. I want to... These are all your thoughts. So you see the difference. You have these thoughts, but after, when it's time to take action, you feel, so you have an emotion, you feel tired because you work. So you enter in a dangerous territory where there are the excuses. For example, one of the major excuses our brain, our mind can invent is the work. Say, okay, I work, therefore I'm allowed to skip the learning because I'm already working. So think about it. I work 8 hours, poor me. I take care about my family, poor me. So much time. I know that there will be people angry with me, but can you really think this way? Or maybe is the mind creating an excuse to not do the work, to not do the action? Think about it. That's why you need to understand your thoughts. Because it's the same mind that in a certain moment said, oh, but I want to become a CCIE engineer. I want to work remotely. I want more money. I want this. I want. But now, when you feel the emotions, oh, but I'm tired. And by the way, I already worked. Therefore, I did it. I worked 8 hours. Why should I study if I feel tired? I already made my work. If you reason this way, you really need to see that there is a discrepancy between the two thoughts. So you need to go again in the contemplation phase, and you need to rethink everything. So you want to focus on one of those thoughts, and you need to understand which one is helpful for your career and which one is dangerous. And I can guarantee to you that when people believe that it's enough doing what they're doing, there's something wrong. You need always to push yourself to the extra mile. This is what I believe. Because if you don't do that, you can't create something big in your life. You can't. Honestly, if I was one of those people who say, okay, I already earn a lot of money, I go to the office, and I don't need to do anything more than that, I probably would be today still there, maybe earning a little bit more, but I would probably still be there. And if I was able to arrive in pre-retirement at the age of 46, was because I decided to change this process, to change and to do more. So that's why at a certain point I said, okay, I have to work, but I wake up 2-3 hours earlier than the others, and I learn new things. And you see, there is a moment, and this is something that is going to happen also for you if you follow the instructions we give you here, where when you arrive to the action, to the massive action, you don't want to stop anymore. Remember, the problem is always in this middle, when you are between the contemplation and the motion. There is where you try to use willpower, and it doesn't work. When you are into the action, the real action, you can't stop. Even if you want, you can't stop. You want to continue, you want to arrive at the end. Because you are curious, you see that you are moving faster, you want to continue. You don't want to stop anymore. Even if you have an ambitious goal like CCIE. I understand, CCIE is a huge goal, and it requires a huge amount of action. And it's true that currently the program is so big, because Cisco pushed new technologies on it, that honestly, some people say, oh, but it's too big. Maybe it's better if I do CCIE, be Juniper expert, because at least it's just routing and switching, and there are no SD-WAN, programmability, wireless, security, all this stuff. But think about it differently. Think about it in another way. Think about it like, what about you become a CCIE today, starting today, and you get rid of a huge amount of competition. Why? Well, think about it. All those CCIEs, or 80% of those CCIEs out there, they don't have a clue about programmability. They don't have a clue about wireless. They don't have a clue about security, because they are doing routing and switching for years. Yes, they got, in the meantime, experience with protocols, maybe OSPF, BGP, true. But ask them to create one script. Ask them something about Python. Ask them something about controller. They don't know. SD access, they don't know. SD-WAN, they don't know. So you have a massive advantage, even if you start now, in this very moment, because you are learning the new technologies, starting from zero. And what I recommend, honestly, to my students, zero to CCIE, is now that there is a zero to Juniper, you can do the two things together. Why? Because you see, zero to Juniper is really routing and switching based, is hands-on based, like zero to CCIE, is advanced, like zero to CCIE, but at the end it's the same. Change only some command, because of course the language is slightly different, and change the structure of the configuration. This is something that you are going to understand when you start zero to Juniper. If you want an idea, Cisco is a little bit more, let me use this word, messy, because you need to configure interfaces, you need to configure different portions of the device in different way. Juniper is a little bit more tidy. You can understand this if you are new by comparing Windows and Linux. Cisco is more similar to Windows and Juniper is more similar to Linux. I know there are huge differences between, but to let understand a new by, the concept is really like this. That's why when you are inside the technologies and you become a network engineer, the tendency is, oh, I like more Juniper. Why? Because it's more tidy. It's easier to troubleshoot because you just read the configuration in one go. It's like a book, the configuration. It's not something that you have to check in different places and you lose the concentration whilst you're checking. At the same time, I always recommend, this is something that I say to every student all the time, you need to master the two technologies. Not one, the two technologies. Why? Say, oh no, but I want to do only Juniper. Well, Juniper is really good, but check the salaries. Check the salaries. Cisco salaries are always higher, obviously. So there is the possibility that you go for a job interview and they say to you, for example, if you are applying for a data center, well, but you are a Cisco guy, you are a CCIE guy, but we need also that you are going to work with Juniper. That's not a big problem. They hire you, and then you have to learn Juniper. But think about it, if you are already a Juniper engineer, you have a massive advantage compared to the others, as long as you know already Cisco. So you need to know both. You need to plan both, and you can do both together. Why? Because it's a long journey, it's a massive journey, but if you do the two things together, you'll see that you save a lot of time. You don't need to restart the process from the very beginning. Also because I have to tell you, next year we arrive with something, I can't announce it, that I want, but I can't tell you what we have in mind, what we are planning, what we are preparing for you for next year. It's something big, or it's something huge, or it's something that change completely the industry here. But you need to wait another year. So this program that we are going to create for next year is something really dedicated to people that already are CCIE and Juniper JNCIE level. So you really need to see our direction. We take you from CCNA or from zero, complete zero. We transform you in a CCNA engineer. And to be really honest, when you do our zero to CCNA, you are not a CCNA engineer. You are a CCNA/CCNP engineer. Because our CCNA is 24 weeks. We provide you all the configuration. You become a CCNA/CCNP engineer with only 24 weeks in zero to CCNA. Totally hands-on, live on Zoom. And then we take you to CCIE. When you are at this level with this hands-on, you move to CCIE faster because you have already a lot of practical, you master the foundations. And then we say to you, just move at the same time with Juniper, become a JNCIE together. So you present to the employer yourself as a new CCIE engineer able to configure SD-WAN, SD-Access. You are a software engineer because you know already something about Python. You can create the scripts. You know a little bit about the wireless. You know a little bit about security. So you see your profile is quite intense. And if you add J and CIE, you are an asset. You can work for any data center. Check the salaries. I mean, the range is between 150 and 200,000 per year in the US. If you are in the UK, when you are CCIE and JNCIE, I would say more than 100,000 pounds, 120,000 pounds. Depends on the work. If you work for contracts, you can arrive to exceed the 150,000 pounds per year. Check the salaries. Don't trust me. Check the salaries. Check CCIE and JNCIE. Then don't tell me, oh, but I saw a job, JNCIE, they pay only 90,000. I said to you, you need to check the opportunities. You need to combine the two things. You don't want to focus only on Juniper. You want to combine the two technologies. If you are CCIE, integrate your knowledge with JNCIE. There's nothing easier you can do. Maybe only service provider can be easier than doing the JNCIE, but it would be silly because you are already practicing this level at routing and switching. Just integrate with Juniper. And then we are going to do service provider later on, not the next, because the next is something huge, I tell you. Be prepared, because 2024, if 2023 is the year of action, that's why today we are talking about 2023, action. 2024 is the ninja year. So you're going to become a ninja, I tell you. You see the progress. From CCNA, we move to CCIE, JNCIE, the next one you are not going to believe. We are going into a clear direction, the ninja direction. 2024 is the ninja year. You are going to become a ninja. Tell you, so I don't want to create too much distance because I want to take all the students to that level. So we need to start again CCNA if you don't have solid foundation and taking massive amount of action. If you are stuck for any reason in this process, one-to-one mindset session with me, just schedule a call. The call is always free. I say to everybody, the Zoom session is just an interaction between me and you. And it's a free Zoom session. You don't lose anything. I mean, you say, oh, but I don't want to lose time. Well, it depends what you are doing. I mean, if you are already arriving at JNCIE level or CCIE level and you just need to finalizing some BGP for CCIE or ISIS for JNCIE, maybe you don't want to lose time with me. Generally, these people come into the call instead. And those people instead that they are in those trainings that they never finish, they never start, generally say, oh, I don't want to lose time. But what are you doing? You need to take action. And the first action is always schedule a call with me. Schedule a Zoom session with me right now. Links in the description below. And if your problem is here, you believe, oh no, but I'm not clever enough. This is not true. This is an excuse like, I'm tired after work. It's an excuse. Or I'm tired, I don't want to affect my work. It's an excuse. You think really that if you study BGP at 4 in the morning, you affect badly your work at 8 in the morning? It's an excuse. You can invent a different one. Say, okay, I want to go to the pub instead of learning. This is a better excuse because it's more transparent. Your brain said, I want to drink because I want to anesthetize and I don't want to think about these things that you are telling me. It's boring. This is completely boring. I want to go with my friends at the pub and drinking 2-3 pints. This is a better excuse, but what I tell you is, okay, try to go to that pub without drinking 2-3 pints and listen what these people, they drink 2-3 pints, say. And then you come in the Zoom session with me, we talk, and you become a CCIE, because you'll notice that those things are totally useless for your life. Completely useless. And you can listen to those things only because you drink those 2-3 pints. Sorry. But this is the truth. But again, it's a better excuse than say, oh, I'm tired after work. But that's the reason why you want to do these things. You don't want to be tired. You want to optimize your life. You want to earn more money and you want to learn new things every day. That's the production of your thoughts. That's the moment where you decided to arrive from the moment of thinking to the moment of contemplation. And you said, okay, so I want to become a CCIE. Okay, good. So now you have to do it. And the problem is that every time the issue arrives when you take action, because there the emotions arrive and the doubts arrive. But those doubts are thoughts. You need to understand this concept. Those doubts are thoughts. So you're starting the process again. Now you have different thoughts because you have emotions. You say, oh, but now I have to work. I have to do something more. And I'm already doing something. How can I give up? Well, this is the thing. You don't have to give up, ever. There's no point, because if you give up, you go back where you were before. And you know already that you don't want to be there. So just pay attention to this. The only thing, the only thing is an initial decision. If you follow the right trainer, if you follow the right structure, and if you get the right training, you can't give up. And especially with us, if you have this feeling that you want to give up, one-to-one mindset with me straight. If you are stuck between the motion and the action, one-to-one mindset with me straight away. Don't think. Because that thinking is not something real. It's something that you do just because you try to find a way to give up. There's nothing to give up. If you give up, you go back where you were before. Trust me, that's wrong. It's a trick of the mind that you have to correct. You can't let the mind give you the direction. You need to give the direction. And then people say, okay, but who is you? Well, it's not your thinking. It's not your thinking. It's something else. I know someone say, but Christian, but this is crazy. Of course it's my thinking. No. No. Because if it's your thinking, tell me why before your thinking said, I want to become a CCIE. And now say, no, I'm too tired, so I don't want to become a CCIE. So there must be some issue here in this internal discussion. So you see, it's not your thinking. And it's a really interesting topic. It's quite complex. I can help you on this because I know it very well. So that's the reason why I'm in pre-retirement in Thailand at the age of 46. Now I'm almost 50. 4 years already are gone. Time flies. But at least you can take control of your time. You can spend time with your family. You can do things that are useful. And you can enjoy life. But you need to focus. You need to understand that that sensation, that emotion is fake, is not real. You don't want to listen to that. And what you want to do instead? Schedule a Zoom session with me right now. This is the first action you take. You need to take action. Because if you don't take action, nothing happens. You need to move from the motion to the action. You need to understand that when you start taking action and you are able to keep taking action all the time, things will improve in your life. This you really need to understand. It's you and your actions that change your life. This is the truth. It's nothing else. And all the emotions, all those thoughts that arrive after, if you think, they just try to move you back into your comfort zone. All the time is the same thing. You don't want to be there anymore because it's not comfortable. It's not a place comfortable. You say, oh, but also studying, also learning new things when I'm tired is not comfortable. It's true, you're out of your comfort zone. It's not comfortable, but will make you much more comfortable later on. If you don't believe me, ask a CCIE engineer. Live a much more comfortable life than a person who's doing things that everyone can do. So you really need to take action. It's the only way. So schedule a call with me, a Zoom session with me right now. Thanks.